What's up, everybody? My name is Sangye Choiphel, and this is Talking Cinema. Travelogues are an interesting way to tell a perspective, a story, and it has fast become a trendy way for content creators to tell their stories about the places that they've been and the places that they're gonna go. And tonight, my guest is Denkar, a very popular content creator with massive amount of social media followers. Welcome to the show, Denkar.
Wow, that was so flattering. Thank you so much for having me on board.
Definitely.
It's such an honor to especially share a platform with you, watching you, especially on screen, doing all the travels within Bhutan. So I can
you very
easily
much.
connect to you. So it was so nice to be invited here.
Well,
Thank you.
welcome to the show, and what have you been doing these days?
Well, I just got from one of the most memorable and amazing trek. I was trekking up in central Bhutan to the base camp of Denkar Pinsum. So
Wow, Gangar Punsong.
yes, I made it till the base camp, of course.
Okay.
It was like really amazing. I trekked for almost 2 weeks. I spent my times with the nomads there. So it was a very local experience. So I just got back to Thimphu. So these days I'm just sitting and contemplating my journey, just trying to write, just trying to actually come up with some more contents. Yeah.
Sure. What I find, especially with traveling, so when I do travelings to places like this, is
Right.
yes, when you come back, that's when you appreciate it the most. don't you?
Exactly,
Isn't it?
exactly. I take like weeks, sometimes even months, just to finish like writing or blogging about it and even like vlogging about
Sure.
it. So it's always a beautiful journey after the actual journey.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Can you please tell us why you went there? Was it for a specific project?
I went there to actually do my first kind of travel documentary. I mean, I've been vlogging all this time, but this time I had the crew. So I felt so good having the team with me.
Sure.
So we filmed the whole journey and we went there because this time of the year, it's time where the nomads actually migrate back to the mountains.
Oh,
So
okay.
I followed one nomad who was my host. So the journey is all about the story of the nomad and the mountain girl who loves mountain, Denkar the mountain girl. So we have done one documentary, so really excited for it to come out, and it will be coming out in Samu actually.
Oh wow!
Yes, so
Wow.
we-
and Samu is going to be. I've actually just last week I've
Right.
talked to
Aunima.
the Aunima, yes,
Right, right.
the founder of Samu,
Right.
and she was actually mentioning.
Oh, really?
Your particular project,
Right.
And that's a very interesting thing, and I'm sure the audience are eagerly waiting for the Mountain Girl.
Yes,
was it?
the mountain girl and the nomad. I'm really excited. I'm actually dying for it to come on screen.
Okay. When can we expect it to come out? I know
yeah.
Samu is relaunching or perhaps launching
Exactly.
within the next 2 weeks.
Exactly. I think that would be the time when it will come out. So
Sure.
for now, we really don't have that proper date
Sure.
to announce. So we're still waiting, but very hopeful.
Okay, we are hopeful
Yeah.
as well. We are
Right.
dying to see it.
Me too.
But besides that, tell me about yourself. How did you even get into this content creating and like
Right.
vlogging and travelogue? How did it all start?
Well, the story is pretty long. I
Okay.
have so many inspirations, so
Sure.
many
Well,
motivations.
we have plenty of time.
Well,
to
of
listen
course.
to it.
Well, of course. So no, it dates back to 3 years ago. It's been 3 years since I've started with Denkars Getaway.
Sure.
I actually did my master's in Thailand and
Okay.
I studied tourism management.
Okay.
So during that time, we had to do massive research about travel. So every time I would look for travel contents from Bhutan, the literature was very minimal, very minimal. And whatever travel contents that we had from Bhutan was either written by a foreigner or it was all plagiarized.
Sure.
You know what I'm trying to
Sure,
say.
yeah.
So that time I realized maybe I would go back home and actually try to contribute to the travel contents.
Sure.
So that was one reason on how I actually started traveling around. Before actually doing vlogging, before actually delving into videography, I started with blogging.
Okay.
So I would write about the places that I would travel to. I would write about people, unheard stories. So I started as a blogger. And then later on, as digital media started to boom,
Right.
then blogging wasn't enough.
Okay.
You know, when I wrote about the places, I felt I did not justify the beauty of the place,
Sure.
the story of the place.
Sure.
So then I thought, oh no, it's time I improvise
Okay.
or incorporate some technology with
Sure.
me. So that's how I jumped into vlogging. So
Okay.
that's how videography came into my journey. So I was a blogger, and then vlogging came in. Then there was visual content.
Sure.
I would write about the places, and then to prove it, I would show the
Film it.
videos,
Right,
film it,
yeah.
and that made absolute sense. Then people loved it, and that's
Okay.
how I started to grow, because people were like, "Oh, she's actually doing it.
Right.
She's been there.
Right.
She's not just writing about
Right.
it. You know, she's showing the places."
Because when you write about it, people might assume like, hey, just
Exactly.
seen a picture of it, and you might be
Exactly.
just creative writing it.
Exactly. So that's how I incorporated vlogging,
Okay.
and that's where I was like, I'm a vlogger as well.
Okay.
But it was so hard for me to convince people.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how was that experience? I mean, like, I'm sure it was initially it was very hard.
Right, it was
Did you
hard.
have any experience with videography?
Not at all, not at all. That's why people sort of assume I must have taken like videography or media classes. I've never studied any media. I've never studied technology. I've never studied any of these subjects. I did my bachelor's in political science and
Wow.
sociology.
Wow.
I wanted to become politician back
Okay.
then. And then suddenly when I was in Thailand, I traveled a lot. I backpacked to so many countries. Then I felt, oh, I need to know more about travel industry.
Was that the turning point for you? When
It
you
was
did
a turning
your
point.
backpacking travel
Yeah,
in Thailand?
it was a turning point, and my parents flipped. They just could not comprehend what I was up to in life.
Sure, they didn't understand it
They
at the
did
moment,
not understand at
the
all.
time.
Yeah, because blogging, vlogging, traveling was very new in Bhutan.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
that's how I sort of switched, and that's how I sort of recognized my higher calling of
Okay.
what I should be doing henceforth after
Sure.
coming back home. So that's the journey of how blogging, vlogging started. There's so many inspiration behind
That's-
it. Yeah,
that's
we'll take
wonderful.
like literally days to finish, but
I'm sure you'll come back once again. We'll have this conversation
love
again
to,
if it's
yeah,
going to take
yeah.
that long. But I really appreciate the concept, that fearless concept that you have, you know, that backpacking by yourself in
Right,
Thailand.
right.
I understand you've also taught English to prisoners in
yes,
Thailand.
yes, that
I
was
mean,
one of the higher calling as well.
wow. I mean, just
Yeah.
that fearless aspect of that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. When I got opportunity to teach in one of the prison in Thailand, you know, I feel like sometimes it's all yellow journalism.
Sure,
People make it up.
sure.
Unless you're there, you won't realize it. So in my case, people think, oh, the prisons in Thailand is considered as the worst and
Right.
most dangerous prison
Right.
in the world. But I was there, I taught to the prisoners, and they were so kind. And you know, every time I went in the prison to teach them, they would ask me, how is the world outside? How is that place? How is this place?
They were curious.
Yeah, they were curious. And you know what I did? So every weekend I would travel to this place, and next week when I see them, I would tell them, you know what? Your hometown looks like this. And it brought tears in them, knowing about their place. And that sort of inspired me, like, man, these people are behind the bar. And if
Right.
I can make difference
Right.
by telling story about the places,
Wow.
there you go. So
then-
that was one of my inspiration.
And there's a certain sense of freedom to that, isn't it? I mean, when you see somebody's locked up who's that much curious about to even just find out about their own hometown,
Right, right.
that lack of freedom and
I
you
know.
having that freedom, I'm sure that it has inspired
So that's
you.
the power.
And
like
appreciate that freedom.
exactly, exactly. That's the power. Like we had the power. I had the power to explore. So that's what I did, and I think it made sense to me. And when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm so happy and so proud of myself that I actually went to the prison and taught them and met them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you started your
Yes.
vlogging,
Yes.
traveling.
Yes.
Explain that experience with the first time you've did proper blogging,
right.
vlogging, sorry, within Bhutan. Was it hard? Did you do it by yourself? I mean, most of these projects you did it by
Yeah,
yourself.
I've been doing everything on my own for last 3 years.
Right.
The first place that I went to was Phobjikha.
Okay.
I remember taking the bus, which just cost me 85 niltram. So it was like so cheap. I didn't realize it would be that cheap, but it was that cheap. So the first trip itself was like, whoa, eye-opener for me.
Sure.
Because I always assumed things might be expensive, but it was very reasonable. I traveled in bus to Phobjikha. I landed up staying there for days and days all by myself. I was like, I didn't have any equipment. All I had was my phone, and
Your
that was
mobile
iPhone
phone, right.
7. Yeah, it was the iPhone 7. So I would take my phone. I had my tripod. So that was my best friend, and I sort
no
of like
external mic, you would
nothing.
capture the audio on the
nothing.
phone camera.
Yeah, it was just the phone and the tripod. So
Wow.
I would just go film, and I did look stupid because people felt, oh, what
What
is
is she
this girl
doing?
up to?
Right, yeah.
Exactly, it was weird to them. But I think all I had was the confidence in me
Okay.
and the want or the need to do something. So I did it, and it was a beautiful journey. Phobjikha was my kickstart destination, and it went so well.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite place in Bhutan?
Don't ask me that. It's like the hardest question. Everyone loves to ask that, but
What are your, okay, if you list it down, what are your
Okay,
favorite places?
everywhere
that
I
you've
have
been to?
traveled
Or perhaps
to-
maybe the experience, not the place.
Yeah, experience.
Let me put the questions in a bit in an in-depth way.
Right.
What's your best experience traveling in Bhutan?
I think for me, the best experience would be actually meeting the local people.
Okay.
And the best of best is always at the mountains.
Okay.
That's why I feel like I'm so connected to mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I must have been some wild animal in my last life, but I
Sure.
really love my experiences everywhere, especially when I trek up there, the mountains with the nomads. So I like it when I'm with local people, exploring the place through their lens. So it's very beautiful that way. So I really don't have favorite place to name it, but I like all the places that I've been to so far. Yeah.
And I really, when I watch your blogs on YouTube, what I like about it is that rawness and the fact that you have a means or that innate talent in you to connect with people. I think.
Right.
And I think that's the most charming aspect about your blogs. Yes, it's the places that you go to, that fearlessness
Right.
aspect of just traveling by
Right,
yourself.
right.
And the fact that you connect with people. You make actual connection with
It
people.
is so important, isn't it? Like, to connect with people is so important. If there's no human connection, then the storytelling is so fake.
Right.
I'm someone who really like things to be very raw and very authentic. Authenticity is so important these days. I don't like filtered videos, and I don't like people who does filtered video, because sometimes, especially in travel destination, it doesn't work. Some people does video which are very filtered, and when we actually travel there, it's not like that, and it's not fair, right?
Sure.
That way, you're not producing a good content
Sure.
and authentic content. So seeking that inspiration, I thought whatever I see, whatever I eat, whatever I feel, I need to take it out on my video. So that's how I do a very raw, very authentic, and very unprofessional video. But I like it that way. Yeah.
It's a style in its own.
Yeah, yeah.
And if it works, and it's been working
It's
for you.
becoming very trendy actually.
Yeah.
These days, authenticity is rawness is the new style in town.
Hey guys, Denkars Getaway is here in Merak, your favorite travel blogger. So yeah, come with me. We're just taking a stroll in Merak village, and she's my host. She's taking me around.
We're taking the trail to Sakting right now, but we're not going to go there. We'll just go there and see the view of whole Merak.
오준 마야? 다 동전 딜리삼 오준 잘. 꼴니 딘잘라. And she's my host lady.
Denkars Getaway is finally here in Merak. I've been looking forward to come here for ages, and I'm like so glad I made it. And this time of the year, it looks like super duper beautiful. Look at it. The village is like covered with layers of snows. It actually Apparently, she's weaving a blanket, which we call tukto in local term, and she says it takes like less than a month to weave this. What a luxury! They are weaving in greenhouse. Guys, this lady here, she's washing clothes with cold water. Achoo, I can't imagine. With the snow water though, unbelievable. This is Merak Thaha. If you guys are planning to come here, make sure you find the caretaker before you come here. Today it's locked, very unfortunate. But the next time when you come here, make sure just let him know that you're coming so that he's here. Otherwise, this is the courtyard where they have annual Merak Teju and festival. It's pretty small, but it's like fairly big enough for the local people here. Having bokpi time. It's good. This last night it snowed and today it's like this place is covered with full of snows. Oof. Oh, lollipop. I met Abipem Chero. Kuzuzangpon. Guys, if you're worried about the gas and petrol when you guys reach here in Merak, don't be, because we have a tiny petrol station. They have petrols in barrels and you also get gas here. So they have a beautiful ritual here every time when it's like Techenga. These ladies, they go around the village praying and chanting. Abi ba mani jang video ni. Oga jent matang? Oh, Denkar video. So nice.
Well,
Yeah.
is there any particular blogger, perhaps, or travelogue, maybe from a Western country? Because it's quite popular in the Western
Oh my God,
countries.
yes, yes, yes.
Is there anyone that sort of inspires you and sort of that you look
Up to.
look up to? Yeah.
Well, I do follow so many popular Western travel bloggers, out of which I have one favorite. Her name is Eva,
Okay.
and she's originally born in UK. And this woman, she travels solo, like solo. She rides horse, she treks, she's with local people. So whatever she does sort of inspires me in some other ways. So she's a wonderful woman. I follow her. I also follow Nas Daily. In fact, I even took one of his storytelling classes, so I got trained for 24 hours under him. So it was beautiful. I do like their way of storytelling, but at the end of the day, like in my story, it's me.
It's a
and
your
yeah,
perspective.
it's my perspective. So I do seek inspiration, but I don't aspire to be like them.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be someone. I just want to be me. So that's how I do my videos.
Well, that's great. I know you have now experienced for 3 years. You've been doing this on your own, without a crew.
Yes.
Now, your latest project with Samu, you have a crew.
Right.
Which one is easier? What's more comfortable for you? Is it better with a crew or is it better with yourself? And is there some sort of sacrifice that you need to make when you're working with a crew?
I think there's like both pros and cons, but honestly, I think I enjoy doing things on my own.
Okay.
Because I've come to a point where I've become so independent and I sort of know what kind of story, what kind of angle I want in my story. So it's beautiful and I don't even have to worry about the crew, right? Whereas if I have a crew, it's easier. My life becomes easier because I need not handle cameras. They do it for me. They even recommend of how I should look, you know, how I should dress up. It's good in a way because they want Denkar to be the best on screen. But somehow in there, I feel like I lose my authenticity or I feel like I lose myself, you know? Having someone tell me what to do, how to look, how to walk and where to stand, you know? I feel like I feel directed. And I'm someone who do not like to be directed and I'm someone who's not scripted at all. If you give me a script and tell me, Denkar, do this script, I'll take days.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm better without script. So having a crew, it's beautiful, it's less stressful. But at the end of the day, I think I like being on my own and just doing solo.
That's such a wonderful thing, which leads me to my next question. How is it like traveling all over Bhutan as a woman? I mean, in terms of security-wise, I'm sure Bhutan is one of the safest places.
It
But
is.
as a woman yourself, right, and traveling all over Bhutan, how's that experience?
It's fun. Generally, when people ask me questions, they will be like, how challenging it is for a woman to travel.
Right.
Thank God you didn't put that challenging word.
Right.
As a woman, I think I take it as blessing because men in general, they have been very generous, especially like during my travel journey. If I hitchhike, they just give me a ride and they take me to places that I want to go. So I take it as blessing being a woman. So far, when I have traveled solo, I feel I have rather been pampered, been given the warmest hospitality, given the best bed, you know, if I'm at the nomad hut, they feel like, oh, madam, you might feel cold at night. They would sacrifice their blanket for me. So in that way, I have been very blessed. People have been very generous. So
But I think generally Bhutanese, our
They're very-
hospitality is,
I think it's the
it just
compassion.
demands that,
Exactly.
be it a woman or a man, as long as they have a guest at their
Right,
home,
right.
they take care of them.
They do. It's like, that's why it's so, I don't really stress about having to travel alone because I feel so safe. And so far, the journey has been amazing, yeah.
Well, we've been talking a lot about how amazing it is. Were there any incidents when you're traveling by yourself where it was you just went, oh man, I can't do this anymore?
I think that like fighting with loneliness.
Okay.
I have traveled.
most of the time you're by yourself.
I'm by myself, and I'm okay. Like, I'm
Okay.
okay being on my own. I'm very comfortable being like traveling solo. But sometimes there comes time where I feel like lonely. It's like, oh man, it's time to move on, you know. So
Yeah.
I just like pack my bag and
Okay.
I just go
And
to
move
other
to the next
place. Yeah,
destination.
and it makes me feel good.
Okay.
So I don't cling to that feeling of feeling
Okay.
lonely. So that's one thing that I struggle with. Otherwise, sometimes I fear of just if I'm hitchhiking. One
Okay.
time I met one drunkard man,
Okay.
and then he tried to bully me.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh yeah," that was a very ugly incident. He was
Sure.
drunk, then he was verbally abusing
Okay.
me because I was speaking English all the
Okay.
time. And he was like, "Oh, you must be from the West, trying to
All right.
speak." He was like verbally bullying me. Otherwise, nothing as such. But feeling lonely is one thing that I've had issue with. But now I feel very comfortable with feeling lonely too.
Sure.
So that
You've got
feeling,
comfortable with your
yeah, that
loneliness.
feeling of loneliness have got into my skin.
Sure.
So I'm like, if I feel lonely, I'm like, so bad, I just pass it.
Is there I'm guessing because you spend a lot of time by yourself,
Right.
especially in these travels. Is there a lot of like inner reflection?
Yes, definitely,
And
definitely.
if you're willing, please share how your take on that and
right.
how you feel about that.
So before actually delving into travels, I've read, I've heard of people saying how small you feel when you travel. And I
yeah.
thought that was very cliche because every travel blogger would
Right.
say that.
It's not about the destination, it's
about
the
the
journey.
journey. That
right?
was the statement,
And it's
right?
not about the place, it's about
The
it's rather
feelings.
the feelings
Exactly.
of your
Exactly.
own understanding of your own shortcomings.
And I would underestimate those statements because I
sure.
felt it was just a statement.
Sure.
But when I actually delved into travels, I felt it. Like I felt it for real. I was like, so even the mountain code, like you don't trek to the mountain for people to see you. You trek to the mountain for you to see the world. And
Right.
it absolutely makes sense. So
Okay.
every time I trek, I'm up there at the mountain, I get very emotional. I'll end up crying like big time. At the best, with the best feeling in the world. So in that way, travel have literally changed me as a person. Every time it just transforms me. And even like in cultural incidences, as I travel within Bhutan, I get to know about the culture, I get to know about the people that I never heard of, you know, the stories that I never heard of. So every time I think about the stories, it always, I don't know, it always punches me like, dude, why did you not know about the stories before?
yeah.
So it becomes my innate duty to sort of tell the story on behalf of the unheard minorities.
Sure.
So in that way, I feel very responsible genuinely, and that's sort of, I think, makes me a responsible citizen, a transformed individual in that way. So it has transformed me both in and out. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Has that passion? Do you still have that passion to travel, or now it's been about like 3, 4, 5 years perhaps that
Yes.
you've done this?
Yeah.
Has it calmed down a little bit, or do you are you still excited about traveling?
Well, I widely want to travel. I'm so wild when it comes to travel, but I think I still have that vigor, that passion that I had since day one. In fact, now I just want to travel more than
Okay.
I thought I would. You know,
Okay.
I want to explore more. I want to go
Okay.
to places. I want to meet with people, know their stories, and bring out these stories using the digital platform. So all I can say is I just want to travel wild and wide throughout the nation and perhaps beyond the Bhutan as well.
What's your take on now? Obviously, when you look at Bhutan in a map, it's very small.
It is,
But when you travel,
it's like we are just a speck of dust. I mean, you have
Right,
traveled, right?
right.
So I feel like there's so many things to know, so many things to know. And of late, I'm so obsessed with the dead rituals and the ceremonies. Because then
okay.
in Bhutan, we feel like, oh, when we die, we just go to Dite and
Right.
our body gets burned.
cremation
Yeah,
ground.
but
and, right.
yeah, I've been reading and I've been researching a lot about various kinds of
Rituals that
rituals that
deals with-
exist in
right.
Bhutan,
Okay.
and there are actually it's so fascinating. Like the West have different styles of the burial
Of taking
ceremony.
care of their dead, right.
Exactly. Even the nomads, they
Right.
have different tradition. It's so fascinating, just like that. And there's so many different cultures, different languages.
Sure.
One time I remember going to Ruka, and then the language is
Other Ruka in Wadi.
yeah, Other Ruka.
Right.
Have you been there?
Yes, I have. That's where I did my Nyadosem episode.
Right. Oh yeah, I remember. The language is so.
Yes, it is.
It's so funny. like it's not like ha funny, but it was so weird.
Right.
For the pork, like in Dzongkha, we call papsha, right?
Papsha, yeah.
So in their language, they call porksha.
Porksha.
Porksha. So it
it's a
felt
mix
like-
of English and Dzongkha.
Exactly. I flipped. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
So-
interesting.
Exactly. So it's like so interesting that when I travel around, I make sure I know the languages, like the local dialects, and they have different cultures, different traditions,
Sure.
different ceremonies. So it's so fascinating. Bhutan could be small, but as we delve into the local Bhutan, it's like, oh, you know nothing about Bhutan.
Right.
So that's why I always encourage people to travel within Bhutan to know our country better. Just because we wear Go, just because we wear Kira doesn't define you as a Bhutanese. Just because we speak Dzongkha doesn't make you Bhutanese. You knowing the depth of our country is so important. That's why I always tell people, go explore Bhutan. You don't need to go to Bangkok, Singapore. You could be having money, but then if you don't know the essence of being Bhutanese,
Sure.
I mean, you had it.
I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
in my episodes, one of the themes that I keep bringing out is identity. And like you said, when you do meet the local, remote local villages and the culture and the traditions that encompasses our
Right.
beautiful Bhutan,
Right.
your identity becomes stronger.
Exactly.
And you're just more connected as a Bhutanese. What does it
Exactly.
mean to be a Bhutanese? It's exactly that, I think. And it's wonderful, isn't it?
Right, right. It is, it is. I'm so happy that you have realized it. Every time I go around schools, I do talk this to youths, saying that we really need to define who we are as a Bhutanese beyond our limitations. You just can't be you can't be defined by how you look, what
That's
you
right.
wear, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to be connected
Yes.
with your roots.
Exactly, exactly.
Has there how now you have a massive amount of social media followers.
Not really.
How do they take your blogs and whatnot? What have been their reactions to your blogs?
Right.
Has it been generally good? Are they encouraging you? How is that like?
In that field, I feel very blessed because every time I go through my comments, I receive positive comments over negative. I mean, there are few who always like to pinpoint over what I do. But then I'm someone who's very positive. I try not to invest my energy on reading or taking in consideration the negative comments. So far, so many people have encouraged me. I have had so many supporters. So I think the followers and my friends and my family are the one who actually sort of always pushes me.
Sure.
Sometimes I do have low days where I feel like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? You should be actually going to office from 9 to 5, you know, doing the job, be that
Right.
typical, get married, have a
Right.
baby. But then again, I'm like, oh, dude, no, I need to live my life. And when I live my life, I have met so many people who have told me right on my face, like, Denkar, you know what? I want to live the life that you're living.
Right.
So that is like the biggest award. It's the biggest achievement for me, and it just keeps me going. So that's how I have sort of managed to generate numbers of followers, and they have been a blessing in my life. And I'm always thankful to my followers, friends, family for always supporting my journey. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my next question now.
Okay.
Obviously. To live a life like this there needs to be some way of sustaining this type of lifestyle.
Right.
That's why most people go to that 9 to 5 job. They need to survive.
Yeah.
How are you sustaining this? I mean, in terms of as a career now.
Right,
I mean,
right.
obviously, I'm sure we'll have some young audience who's probably watching
Right,
the show,
right.
who wants to do what you do.
Right.
How are you sustaining this? Is it a sustainable way of, let's say, if it's a career perhaps, or even a passion?
Right.
Can it be
Right.
sustained within Bhutan?
Of course. You have like Denkar right in front of you.
Right.
Well, I say it's all about opportunity. It's all about grabbing opportunity. It's all about creating opportunity by yourself. Like you don't wait for someone to just like give you
Offer
money,
you,
you know,
right,
offer
okay.
you this job or do this, do that.
Right.
It doesn't work these days. So for me, of course, it has been very challenging during my initial time. It was very challenging for me financially. So it was a financial journey. It's like financial adventure itself.
Okay.
But had it not been my parents who supported me, I think that Denkars Getaway would have perished
Sure.
because they supported my passion. So I even worked harder because I felt like I was depending on my parents to actually like to
Sure.
follow my passion.
There's some sort of guilt that. or
Exactly, I
maybe
had
to
that
prove,
guilt.
right,
Yeah, so
okay,
to prove it, to
right, that
prove
you
to
can,
society that I
right,
can.
Okay.
I did it. So right now I would travel then because my travel journey was very genuine. I met so many genuine people who actually came out to me offering money. Like, can you believe it? They would be like, "Oh, Denkar, if you're traveling to some other places next, let me know. I want to support you."
Sure.
Because they felt so good seeing Bhutan.
Right.
And I had so many supporters who were Bhutanese living beyond Bhutan. They would either be in Australia, Dubai, and some in USA. They would be like, "It feels so good to see Bhutan through your lens.
Oh,
Let us
wow.
support you." You know,
Wow.
I remember like having some donors who literally gave me like few $100 just for me to travel and just for
kickstart, right, your own.
exactly, just for Denkar to like sustain.
Sure.
So that's how I started traveling, and then later on I started to go to travel companies,
Okay.
ask them for sponsorship.
Sure.
They would sponsor, but I would never ask them things for free because
Sure.
at the end of the day
Because
I
you-
was promoting their travel
Right. You
agent.
provide a service to them, right?
Exactly. So I was providing the service
Sure.
and I was availing the financial service
Sure.
from them.
Sure.
So it was like both win-win.
Sure.
So that is how I started earning,
Sure.
sort of at least I started to sustain.
Sure.
I was off my parents' budget.
Sure.
And later on, because of the higher reach of fans and followers, the businesses would come to me asking me to promote their products.
So you no longer need to go to them; they come to you.
Sort of yes, but sometimes if I
That's
need
wonderful.
huge budget, I
Sure.
have to go with proposals.
Well,
Like,
obviously,
it doesn't
right.
work, right?
Obviously, right. Right.
So yeah, that's how I started, and now I am rigorously into promotion, marketing, product placements, and in between I go around schools, colleges, I give talk. And in one way that has made me a mediapreneur.
Sure.
So I also teach guides.
Okay.
Sometimes I give guides about travel lessons.
Sure.
So I have become a freelancer now. I have like so many nitty-gritty jobs and
Sure.
work. So most of the time I'm so busy. Every time I'm in Thimphu, like I'm so bogged down with work. And that sort of these are the source of these are the
Sustainability sources. Right?
yes sources. And then the moment I have enough money, then I travel. But even when I travel, I sort of at least I make an effort to make some money out of
Sure,
it. So
sure.
that keeps me going for another project. And
Sure.
that's how I started my office. So now I have
Oh, you
established.
have an office now.
Yes. So after 3 years, before 3 years, I was jobless. I was just
Sure.
traveling around. So after 3 years, now I have established office. So in that way, people take me seriously. Like, oh, she's like really serious. So now I'm like super serious. So
Okay.
I have established office. That only presents that anything is doable.
Right.
Like you work with nothing, and
Right.
you work so hard. You put your heart. You keep your
And
passion
you can
going.
make your passion work.
Yeah, it works. I never thought traveling. I thought traveling was my passion, and now it has become my career. So anything is doable. Yeah, it's all about opportunity, grabbing opportunity, and making opportunity be there for you.
Now, due to what's happening around the world with this pandemic, especially traveling,
Yes.
has that impacted you in a big way, or well, not necessarily financially. I don't want
Right.
to really talk about that, but just in terms of traveling, has that impacted you?
Yes, big time, big time. Well, even financially, I
Sure,
don't
right. I'm
mind
sure
opening
financially it's
about it.
impacted
So
most of
yeah,
us, right?
because I would do consultancy for travel companies.
Sure.
Instantly, first month I lost 4 jobs because tourists won't come in. So
Right.
travel companies were affected, and indirectly I was affected as well. So I lost a few jobs. Then when it comes to travel, every time now I'm scared of lockdown. I'm like, oh, there could be lockdown, or I would feel so bad traveling to. I feel so bad when I travel to remote places
Right.
because these people are so skeptic. Like
Right.
they fear you. Like
Right.
seriously, they fear you. If I tell them, oh, I came from Thimphu,
Right.
they'll be like, oh,
They'll be very
okay.
skeptical. They might think,
They're very
okay, you're bringing in
skeptical.
the
Yes.
the
Yes.
virus.
Yeah, they're very skeptical. So in that way, I have refrained myself from
Sure.
traveling as well.
Sure.
So if I think like, oh, it's really time that I need some air and mountain love, then I really make an effort to travel. Otherwise, I'm trying not to really like go travel. But
Okay.
but so far it's been good. But yes, we have been definitely affected, big time. Yeah.
How are you? What are you doing to sort of balance that out? Maybe in terms of working with Samu,
Yeah. So
any other projects that you're working with?
projects, as in for now I am really sitting and
Okay.
working on my.
And planning your next big.
Yeah, I'm planning on my next big. I have 2 bigs coming up, so
Okay.
I'm really hopeful. But for now, I'm really sitting and focusing
Okay.
on my blog.
Okay.
Like not the vlog, but the
Okay.
blog. But then I have so many contents. Like every time, like you must have seen, I'm super active on Instagram.
Yes, you are.
The moment I post one picture, I feel like posting another one.
Sure.
But then again, I'm like, no, let them at least digest this content,
Right.
you know. So I just wait
Right.
for the other one. So there are so many contents.
Is there
there.
a specific formula within the social media platform in order to get the most viewership?
Yes, yes. You just can't be so blunt on social
Okay.
media.
You can't just post everything.
No way. You have to know the timing. It's so important. Like being there on social media, I religiously learned digital psychology. So
Okay.
it's so important. You have to learn how consumer consumes your picture. You know,
Okay.
there's so many psychology behind it.
Does
so
it have
you,
to be the best picture, or is it just about like knowing the psychology
yeah,
of the
it's
users?
about the timing. It's about the place. It's about you really don't need to look good. You know, you
Okay.
just need to know when to post, how to caption it. There's
Okay.
like so many strategy in it. So
And
when
the
I post a
thumbnails
picture,
are very important when you're
yes,
posting a
yes,
video.
definitely. So when I post a picture, I don't do it effortlessly.
Okay.
People do not know it.
There are some planning
yeah,
behind
yeah,
it.
we plan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. If you have a very, if you're trying to up your followers, these are the secrets. You
And
could
the
talk to
digital
Denkar. She has an
psychology.
office. You could visit her office and
Yeah.
maybe
I'll
perhaps
charge
have
them.
a.
I'll charge them.
But she charges a nominal fee, perhaps.
Because that's like my way of
Right,
living, right?
right,
I need to
right.
earn my bread and butter through
Exactly,
that. So
exactly.
yeah.
We've almost talked for about an hour.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's fast.
So one question that I ask to whoever sits in that sofa there
Wow, it's a hot
is
sit.
one last question that I
Yeah.
ask is, what would you tell, especially with your passion, with your career in blogging and traveling,
Right.
to any young audience that are watching there? Not even young, anybody who wants to do this,
Right, right.
type of thing and sustain. What would you tell them? What's your advice to them?
Well, the first is if you want to do something,
Sure.
you just need to go and do it.
Okay.
Don't keep those ideas in your mind.
Sure.
If you don't execute it, what's the use of just thinking about it? Yeah.
Sure.
So execution is so important, and you're not too old. Like sometimes people feel like, oh, I've been in civil servant for last 20 years, and I feel like it's too old for me to travel. It's like you're never too old to travel. You know. So as you travel, you just get wiser. So you're never too old. Just kickstart. If you have it in mind, just execute it. And then the most important and the only advice that I give to all the youths and everyone who watches or listens is to just be themselves and to be authentic and raw. You don't need to be like someone. Like you don't want to be like Denkars Getaway.
Sure.
Because I get youths telling me that, oh, Ashim, I want to be like you.
Right.
And I tell them, you don't
No,
have to
be
be
yourself.
Exactly. If they are trying to be like Denkars Getaway, they lose their identity, right?
Sure.
So it's so important for everyone to be themselves, like be comfortable in their skins. I'm someone who's good with or without makeup. So these days, body shaming is one of the trendy topics that people talk about. And they tell me, oh, how do you carry on without makeup at the mountains? You're so blunt. You just show brushing.
Sure.
You're so obnoxious, you know? You're so shameless that way.
Sure.
And I love it. I take it as compliment because I am. So, you know, I'm someone who do not live to please someone. I cannot please someone. I'm not a pleaser. And in that way, some people do not like me at all because I can't please them. But that's fine for me.
Right,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine for me because that's me.
Right.
So being ourselves is so important in this life. We just have one life. Why
But
would-
you've had so much support. I've actually seen your post
Right.
where you're on the top of the mountain and there's no makeup. And I've actually seen people's feedback saying,
Right.
wow, you're so brave, you know, you're such an encouragement
Right,
to all the
right.
women. I mean, the feedback has been so positive, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Because
it has been
that-
positive.
as I mentioned earlier, I mean that fearlessness aspect about it, and you're breaking the norms
Right.
of how the traditional,
right.
conventional
Yeah.
thing of how we perceive women, right?
But ironically, I'm here trying to advocate people to be
Sure,
themselves.
sure.
But you go on social media platform, you see young kids. They're trying to be like Kim Kardashian. They're
Right.
trying to be like Kylie Jenner. They're trying to be who they are not.
Right.
So for those people, I
Right.
always tell them, you don't have to be like someone. Just be yourself. Just be the best version of yourself. Every time I wake up and I'm like, my mantra is like, I just want to be the best version of myself. So if I wake up, if I don't feel like running or if I don't feel like working out, I just like remind myself, Denkar, no one but yourself. You need to work on yourself. No one's going to work for you, yeah? So I just get up and I just go to run. So that sort of inspires me. So to better ourselves is so important in life.
Such a great advice. There might be a segment of audience who might also think like, hey, I don't know anything about cameras. How do I even do this if I start a blogging? Right?
Oh yeah, thank you
I
for
mean,
reminding
you've
me.
started with just an iPhone 7.
Yes, yes.
What would you tell them? Like, I mean, do you necessarily even have to go to a film school?
Oh,
I
no.
mean, it would be great to go to a film school.
Right,
but
right.
Is it really necessary in order to do something like this?
Well, if you have luxury in life, why not? But
Right.
if you don't, but if you have passion, passion is more important than the luxury that you have in life. So you could start with any equipments that you have in life. These
And
days,
everybody has a smartphone.
exactly, and these days it's all about skills.
Sure.
Some people could be having the latest technology in their
Right,
hand, the
right.
latest camera, but if they don't have skill, what's the use of having
right.
cameras, right?
That's right.
So you could start with the phone. I started with the phone, and the most rewarding point in my life was when I got audience of His Majesty the King, and His Majesty mentioned, "Oh, you use camera, like phone camera,"
Right.
and I got gifted a phone.
From His Majesty.
Yes, from
That's
His
wonderful.
Majesty, and ever since, the videos that I produce right now, it's all from that phone. Like I'm still with the phone, and I think I will still be the phone for rest of the journey. So whatever you have, use that. Just make sure you work on your skill. If you're skillful, nothing like it.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And opportunities just open up in front of you.
And smartphone, everybody has it. So just go out
they're
there,
the
explore.
smartphones these days are filming in like 2K, 4K. So in terms of quality wise, you don't really have to worry.
Like even the apps, like usually youths, they ask me, oh, what kind of app do you use? And I tell them, just go to Google and type the free app to edit on phone. There you go, you have it. So everything
so you
is
can edit your videos on those apps.
everything is on our fingertip. It's just how you execute it.
Right.
So it's so doable. Anything is possible. I know when I say it, it sounds very big, but because I have lived that face, like face by face.
Sure.
So I feel like anything is doable. It's just that you need to be very open, keep your eyes on, grab the opportunity, otherwise create it. Be the creator. Why would you walk on someone's path? Just be the writer of your own story.
Don't be a follower.
Yes.
Be a
creator.
exactly.
Yeah.
One last question. Anything that you would like to end the show with? Anything that you would like to say?
But then it's such an honor to be here talking to you. I think I've talked a lot, but I feel like it's so important to actually, for people to actually come on board, talk about it, share experience, but deep down, some other people who are watching this show might be getting inspired, you know. When it just happened to me, I was watching you and Audichan Roder talk, and
Roder,
I got so inspired. I was like, oh wow, this is actually making sense. So this show, I think, adds value to whoever is interested in cinematography. So thank you. I would like to thank you for bringing on the show, besides Najin Express, which was one of my favorites. So
thank you
I
very
really
much.
look forward to watch Najin Express again.
I've had another guest who had also told me to sort of continue it.
In fact,
but I'm also
yeah.
waiting for the pandemic, this
Yeah.
situation to improve.
Can I
Perhaps a
be one of
second
your
jab.
guests during the Najin Express?
I guess we'll talk in
Yeah.
the future, perhaps. Maybe yes,
But
a
then, yeah.
collaboration can be in the
Yeah,
lines.
yeah,
And
right.
I think we've talked even before about it.
Right,
But
right.
as soon as the second jab comes and once things become to
Let's
somewhat
do
of a
it.
normal,
Let's do it.
Let's
Right?
do it,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're a doer, so let's do it.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Denkar, for coming to the show. It's been an honor. What a wonderful conversation we've had. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. Thanks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And have a good night.